The global cheese market is a $150 billion industry, and seniors are its most vulnerable consumers. You're not being warned, because your confusion makes them money. Behind every slice is a system that profits off your aging body's decline. And the truth: one mistake with cheese after 60 could quietly destroy your heart, brain, or immune system without you ever connecting the dots. Here's what the dairy industry hopes you never find out. As you age, your body loses enzymes, gut bacteria, and cellular repair capacity. That means the cheese that once gave you comfort could now trigger inflammation, raise blood pressure by 20 points overnight, or clog arteries 3 times faster than it would in someone younger. But no warning label, no alert, just a smiley cow on the front of the package. One hidden preservative, one wrong type of milk, one harmless bedtime snack, and suddenly your vision blurs, your legs weaken, and you chalk it up to aging. But it's not age, it's a biochemical disaster you were never told about. In this video, we'll expose the 6 deadliest cheese mistakes seniors are making, ranked from number 6 to number 1. And the number 3 mistake could spike your risk of deadly infection by 340%, all from something millions of seniors eat every night before bed. This isn't clickbait, it's medical fact. And every reference is linked in the description below. Now, before we dive in, tell us, where are you watching from? And what's your favorite type of cheese? We read and reply to every single comment personally. Now, without any further ado, let's start with number 6, because this one mistake in your fridge could be silently destroying your digestion. Number 6. Eating cheese that's been left out too long. This mistake might sound innocent, but for seniors, it's not just careless, it's deadly. Let's say you're having a quiet evening. Maybe a glass of tea, a couple slices of your favorite soft cheese. It sat out on the counter all day after lunch, but it still looks fine. You eat it, think nothing of it. But what you just swallowed could be crawling with deadly bacteria that have multiplied by the millions. And if you're over 60, your body may not be strong enough to fight them off. Meet Evelyn, 72. She was known for her beautiful Sunday brunches, homemade bread, olives, and an elegant spread of cheese for her family. That day, her brie and blue cheese platter stayed out on the table for nearly 4 hours. Later that evening, she popped a few slices into her mouth while cleaning up. 2 days later, Evelyn collapsed in her bathroom, disoriented and feverish. The diagnosis: Listeria monocytogenes, a bacteria that thrives in room temperature cheese. And for seniors like Evelyn, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention confirms this infection is 20 times more likely to be fatal than in younger adults. Why is this so dangerous? The answer is simple. Your immune system after 60 isn't what it used to be. As we age, our natural defenses slow down. What your body could fight off at 40, it might surrender to at 70. And cheese, especially soft, unpasteurized, or high moisture types, becomes a breeding ground if left out even just 2 hours. That's all it takes for bacteria to explode in population. According to the USDA, bacterial growth doubles every 20 minutes in foods left at temperatures between 40 degrees Fahrenheit and 140 degrees Fahrenheit, a range most homes fall into. The worst part: many seniors don't even feel sick until it's too late. Listeria doesn't always strike immediately. It can take days or even weeks to show symptoms, and by then, it can cause inflammation in the brain, blood poisoning, or fatal meningitis. Seniors with diabetes, kidney disease, or any weakened immunity are at even greater risk. So, what's the solution? First, never trust your eyes or your nose. Bacteria don't always leave a smell or visual clue. As a rule of thumb, any cheese, especially soft or raw kinds, should be refrigerated within 2 hours of being served. And if you're unsure how long it's been out, throw it away. Yes, even if it looks perfect. That creamy slice of leftover goat cheese isn't worth a hospital stay. Also, store cheese properly. Wrap it tightly. Keep it in the coldest part of your fridge and label the date it was opened. Seniors should especially avoid cheeses made from raw or unpasteurized milk unless confirmed safe, as these carry a much higher listeria risk. You'd be surprised how many people ignore this, thinking it's just cheese. But in the wrong conditions, it's not just food. It's a bacterial trap. A small lapse in kitchen safety can turn into a life-threatening infection overnight. But this next mistake, it's even more dangerous, because it hides behind a label that says healthy, but it might be sabotaging your entire circulatory system. Number 5. Choosing low-fat cheese thinking it's safer. This one catches so many seniors off guard. The label says low-fat, so it must be the better choice, right? Wrong. For people over 60, this so-called healthier option can quietly sabotage your hormones, bones, and muscles. And no one tells you this. Take Jerry, 69. After his doctor warned him about cholesterol, he threw out every full-fat cheese in his fridge. He swapped in those glossy packets of low-fat mozzarella sticks, skim ricotta, and reduced-fat American slices. A few months later, Jerry noticed something strange. He was constantly tired. His muscles felt softer. His legs cramped more often. And the worst part, a routine checkup revealed early-stage osteoporosis and dangerously low vitamin D and testosterone levels. Here's why this happens. Full-fat cheese, yes, the one you're told to fear, actually carries important fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin D, K2, and A, which only get absorbed with fat. When you strip the fat away, you lose the transport system that carries those vitamins into your bloodstream. And guess what? Seniors already struggle with nutrient absorption due to lower stomach acid and aging gut linings. So now you've got two problems. Not enough of the nutrients and a weak delivery system. But it gets worse. A 2019 study published in the Journal of Clinical Lipidology found that moderate intake of full-fat dairy in older adults was associated with better HDL, good cholesterol levels, and lower markers of inflammation. On the other hand, those who consumed mostly low-fat dairy had no significant improvement in cardiovascular risk, despite what the packaging promised. And then there's muscle. Your body needs certain dietary fats to produce hormones like testosterone and growth hormone, both of which directly impact muscle strength and sarcopenia. Without them, your ability to recover from workouts, prevent falls, or even walk comfortably begins to decline. So, what's the takeaway? Don't let marketing fool you. Fat isn't the enemy. Bad fats are. Seniors should avoid heavily processed cheese with low-fat claims and additives, not the real, aged, whole-fat cheeses in moderation. Go for natural varieties like aged cheddar, Gouda, or full-fat Swiss, which have been shown to support bone health, immunity, and hormone balance. Don't let a shiny label trick you into giving up the very nutrients your body is begging for, because the next mistake is even sneakier. And it's hiding in something most seniors eat every single week without realizing the danger. Number 4. Eating melted cheese from processed foods like burgers or nachos. There's a dangerous illusion that's tricking millions of seniors every day. It's that warm, gooey, melted cheese oozing off your fast food burger or smothered all over those nachos at your favorite diner. It looks like cheese, it tastes like cheese, but what if I told you it's not even real cheese at all? And for people over 60, this fake food can quietly rot your gut, weaken your eyes, and accelerate muscle loss without a single warning on the label. Meet Linda, 72. She'd been trying to eat light during the week, but Friday nights were her little reward. A shared plate of cheesy nachos with her daughter, a burger with extra cheese at the local pub. But slowly, Linda started noticing her stomach felt bloated more often. Her knees ached when she stood up, and her vision at night, especially while driving, started to blur. Her doctor brushed it off as age, but Linda wasn't convinced. She started researching, and what she found terrified her. That bright yellow melt on most processed foods isn't natural cheese. It's a Frankenstein blend of cheese byproducts, milk protein concentrate, vegetable oil, preservatives, and food coloring, designed to mimic real cheese, but cheaper and shelf-stable. These cheese-like substances are often legally labeled as pasteurized processed cheese food. That's right, not even real cheese. And here's where it gets scary. A 2021 report published in Frontiers in Nutrition found that ultra-processed dairy products like processed cheese were associated with higher rates of chronic inflammation and gut permeability, especially in older adults. That means these foods break down the protective lining of your gut, letting harmful toxins slip into your bloodstream, something called leaky gut. And from there, it's a chain reaction: increased inflammation, decreased nutrient absorption, weakened immunity, and yes, accelerated muscle breakdown. Now, combine that with the high sodium and synthetic additives found in processed cheese, and it's a recipe for kidney strain, higher blood pressure, and fatigue. These chemical-laced cheese-like toppings do nothing for your bones, your vision, or your strength. In fact, they rob your body of the very nutrients you need to prevent sarcopenia, not fuel it. So here's the truth. If you want the benefits of cheese, like calcium, vitamin K2, and muscle-supporting protein, you must choose real, natural cheeses, not these plastic-tasting fakes. Look for blocks of cheese with just milk, salt, rennet, and culture on the label. If it comes in a plastic wrapper, melts too perfectly, or says cheese food product, walk away. Because the next mistake is even more harmful, and it happens in your own kitchen every time you store your cheese the wrong way. Before we go on, if you're getting value from this video, go ahead and tap that like button. And make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon, so you never miss out on powerful health tips like these. Number 3. Storing cheese wrong in the fridge. You're growing bacteria, not flavor. This mistake happens silently, and it's terrifying. You might think you're being careful, placing your cheese in the fridge just like the package says, but one small slip, like wrapping it in plastic or sealing it in an airtight container, can trigger bacterial overgrowth, mold spread, and chemical changes that poison your gut, inflame your joints, and put your immune system on high alert. Especially over 60, your body no longer has the same defenses to fight off the silent invaders growing inside that neglected cheese block. Meet George, 69. Every Sunday, he'd prepare his meals for the week, chopping vegetables, baking fish, and slicing up his favorite sharp cheddar to snack on daily. He'd always wrap the leftover cheese tightly in plastic wrap and place it in the corner of his fridge. But after a few weeks, George noticed his stomach was uneasy after eating it. His energy dipped, and one morning, he woke up with painful cramps that sent him to the ER. The cause? Contaminated cheese harboring Listeria monocytogenes, a bacteria that thrives when cheese is improperly stored, especially soft or semi-soft types. Here's the science. Cheese is a living food. Good bacteria inside real cheese are beneficial, helping with digestion, immunity, and even brain function. But when you seal cheese airtight in plastic or let condensation build up around it, it creates a wet, low-oxygen environment that supports the growth of bad bacteria and harmful mold spores. According to a study published in Food Microbiology, these storage conditions can lead to rapid increases in bacterial counts, even when refrigerated properly. And once consumed, these toxins can disrupt your gut microbiome and trigger chronic inflammation, directly linked to joint pain, poor nutrient absorption, and increased frailty in seniors. The solution? Wrap hard and semi-hard cheeses in wax paper or parchment paper to let them breathe. Then place them in a loose plastic bag or ventilated container. Always store them in the cheese drawer or vegetable crisper, not the coldest part of the fridge, which can damage texture and encourage water buildup. And here's a senior-specific tip. If your cheese has visible mold, don't just slice it off. Over 60, Your immune system may not handle the invisible mycotoxins that seep deeper than you think. Ready for the next one? Mistake number 2 is the most deceptive of all, because it hides behind a label that says low-fat or heart-healthy, but it's doing the exact opposite. Number 2. Eating cheese too close to bedtime wrecks your sleep and secretly spikes inflammation. They say cheese is comforting. A little late-night snack before bed. Harmless, right? But what if that bite of cheddar at 10:30 p.m. is quietly inflaming your joints, spiking your blood pressure, and robbing you of the deep sleep your brain and muscles desperately need to stay strong after 60? Meet Harold, 74. Every night after dinner, he'd nibble on a few slices of Gouda while watching the news. Better than ice cream, he'd say. But his sleep started to unravel. Waking up groggy, tossing and turning, vivid dreams, and even leg cramps. His morning blood pressure was climbing, and he couldn't shake off the brain fog. What was to blame? His innocent bedtime cheese ritual. You see, cheese is dense in tyramine, a compound that forms as cheese ages. Tyramine stimulates the release of norepinephrine, a stress hormone that increases alertness and heart rate. For younger people, this might barely register. But for seniors, especially those with lower melatonin or on medications, it can mean heart palpitations, restlessness, and shallow sleep. A 2019 study published in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience showed that poor sleep quality in seniors was directly linked to elevated nighttime catecholamines, the same group tyramine triggers. But that's not all. Cheese also slows digestion due to its saturated fat and casein protein structure. Eating it late means your digestive system keeps working while your body is trying to shut down. That disrupts the normal overnight repair process, especially for muscles and eye tissue, which regenerate during deep sleep cycles. Instead of healing, your body is fighting to digest. If you love cheese, the solution isn't to quit, it's to time it right. Eat cheese at least 3 to 4 hours before bed, ideally with fiber-rich vegetables to slow the tyramine effect. And opt for fresher, less aged cheeses like mozzarella or ricotta, which contain lower tyramine levels and digest more easily. But this next mistake is even more alarming, because it's the kind of cheese that builds up in your arteries and silently raises your risk of heart attacks. Number 1. Eating non-pasteurized or homemade cheese. It's one of the deadliest food traps seniors walk into, and it hides behind the most innocent smile. You're told it's fresh from the farm, handmade with love, or even what our ancestors ate. But what they don't tell you is that non-pasteurized cheese could destroy your gut, your brain, or your life within days. Especially after 60, your body isn't equipped to fight off the silent monsters lurking in that natural wedge of cheese. Take Martha, 73. She was visiting her granddaughter's new farmhouse wedding in late spring. The celebration had it all: candles, music, a beautiful buffet of rustic foods. But what caught Martha's eye was a wooden board with a handwritten sign, "Handcrafted herb cheese, from our neighbor's goats." She smiled, took 2 pieces, and said it reminded her of her childhood. 3 days later, she collapsed in her kitchen. By the time her son got her to the ER, she was shaking uncontrollably. Fever, chills, confusion. The culprit? Listeria monocytogenes, a deadly bacterium hiding inside that beautiful, innocent cheese. Non-pasteurized cheese, made from raw milk, doesn't go through the heating process that kills bacteria. And the older you are, the more deadly this becomes. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, people over 60 are up to 10 times more likely to develop life-threatening complications from listeria than younger adults. And it's not just nausea. Once the bacteria pass through the gut wall, they can travel into the bloodstream, brain, or even placenta in pregnant women. In seniors, the infection can trigger septicemia, meningitis, or irreversible brain damage. And mortality rates. They range from 20% to 30% once listeria reaches the bloodstream. Now here's the kicker. Listeria thrives in the fridge. That means it doesn't even need room temperature to grow. So if you brought that raw cheese home thinking chilling it would keep you safe, you're actually giving the bacteria a low-temperature breeding ground. The longer it sits, the deadlier it gets. And most seniors have a weaker immune system, slower digestion, and are often on medications that further reduce gut defense. That's a perfect storm, you may think. But it's rare, right? Not if you're eating cheese made at home, from farmers' markets, or imported without pasteurization. The FDA has repeatedly warned against soft cheeses like brie, queso fresco, camembert, blue-vein cheeses, or goat cheeses that aren't pasteurized, especially for seniors, pregnant women, and immunocompromised people. Yet these same cheeses are sold without warnings in many parts of the world, labeled with buzzwords like artisanal, natural, or village-made. So how do you stay safe? It's simple. Always check the label for pasteurized milk. If it's from a farm or made at home, politely ask. If they can't confirm it's pasteurized, don't risk it. Hard cheeses like cheddar, Gouda, and Swiss are usually safe because their aging process kills bacteria. But with soft, homemade, or foreign cheese, the risk is never worth the flavor. Not after 60, because when listeria strikes a senior body, it's not a stomachache. It's a full-blown war your immune system might lose overnight. And tragically, by the time symptoms show up, it's often too late. But now that you've seen the #1 most dangerous cheese mistake, what about you? Have you ever tried a raw cheese thinking it was harmless? Do you know if your favorite cheese is pasteurized? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We're reading every single one and replying. And who knows, your comment might just stop someone else from making a fatal mistake. So hit that like button, share this video with a fellow cheese lover over 60, and don't forget to subscribe. This isn't just food advice. It's protection for your brain, your immune system, and possibly your life. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below. Thanks for watching.